Talk
Mhm.
about just quickly the bathroom setup, the facelift versus replacement. We'll come back and we'll start that thread when we come back out of break. Go right ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, well, the concept of, you know, reface versus replace, I think is suited for being able to, well, it really is contingent upon the foundation, right? So that is really how you determine whether or not it's something that needs to be replaced or something that can be refaced. Is it in is the integrity there to be able to modify it and it still maintain the quality that you desire?
How did you find this green gobbler stuff?
Well, we work in a lot of different areas. Some homes that have septic systems and wells and things of that nature have frequent problems with the plumbing. And I had one scenario where the way that the main drain was run, it's a large home, so the drain was kind of like run around the entire basement. And so the pitch isn't really, I would say, sufficient enough to have adequate flow all the time. And so every once in a while they would have backups, but the septic tank wouldn't be full. And so what we realized is that the lack of adequate slope was actually starting to have buildup on the inside of the pipe. And the only thing that we could get to use because of the length of it, I mean, it probably is 150 feet at least wrapped around. We were able to try different cleaners, but the only one that would work was the green gobbler. So that was from there kind of like all we recommend now.
You've been talking about with this facelift for Little House Lansing, and just give them a couple minute recap. Go ahead, please.
Sure. Well, I think the big message that I would like to send in this whole idea of reface versus replacement is just taking time sometimes to think about what really is your long term and or short term goals. And once you've done that, then you can kind of decide as to what modifications you want to make. I think we talked about real estate, people buying homes versus people selling homes. And people selling homes, I usually recommend reface whenever possible because people buying homes tend to come in and make someone's home their home by changing and modifying it to what their needs are. And so, in the terms of replace, I really like to focus on that for long-term future modifications that are considerate of potential mishaps. And so reface versus replace is just a approach to remodeling a home to get the best outcome.
What about your all sports headgear?
Sure. Yeah, well, as you said, man, it was one of those kind of moments that I don't know. I had no idea what was happening, but it was surreal. Again, one of those moments. My friend of mine, who is an ex pro boxer and MMA fighter, who also knits. Funny enough, he knits and he sews. So like those are two different extremes, I guess. But one day we were sitting, just talking, watching some highlights, and I happened to see Steph Curry, put a towel over his head after the game was over and kind of walk out into the locker room. And the first thing that dawned on me is that it looked cool. I was like, being an athlete and stuff, I was like, oh man, I never thought about that. And then that went from that moment into, dang, what if there was something that was actually meant for that purpose? And then a couple minutes later, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so I was like, well, what would it look like? As he and I continue to talk. And the next thing you know, I just grabbed the old towel that I had in the house and a Sharpie marker and I just drew it, because I was looking at how he stuffed the towel down in his shirt and how it made this little hood almost over his head. And that's exactly how I designed the All Sports. It's designed so you can wear it underneath your any kind of shirt, any kind of coat, anything, without adding bulk. And so it was just, man, it was just one of those. I don't know. It's hard to explain that moment, really, because every time I reflect back to it, I felt like I had created the most significant thing that ever been made. And I remember saying, like, oh, we're going to sell a quadrillion of these things because everybody got a towel, you know? And so, yeah, it was really an amazing experience, to do that. And then few years later to actually have a real physical product in my hands that is now on the market. It's available on Amazon. It's available through our website. It's available through our construction website. and so many other places. It's yeah, it's one of I can't even explain it, man. It really is just overwhelming sometimes. Hmm.
What are a couple of takeaways that you'd like to share with either on the refinement zone thing, on the facelift versus replacement, the reface versus replace? We talked about a lot of different things,
Hmm.
and all of these aspects of your customer service, because that's a huge part of functional remodeling is customer service. Please, what's your takeaway?
Wow. Well, I think from the refinement side is to definitely be cognizant about who you are and where you are in the moment, and to also be aware that you can do so much more. You know, it's easy to get, you know, well, I don't know what you call it, plateaued or to get stagnant. I mean, I guess there's different ways to express that, but it's easy to find yourself in a place where you found comfort and you don't challenge and push yourself. And so that's my take on the refinement side. On the reface versus replace, I'm going to say again, I think having a unique type of customer service that we can challenge our customers' thinking as to what they want to do, I think is hugely important.
Rob Helm's a bomb. Guy's greatness. Bathroom suite. Sandy loved it. And you know what? You take a 6x7 space and you turn it into something that's much more, it's just much nicer. It's not 100% replaced, but it's 100% refaced. And that was really good. So check out Quality Vision Construction, Rob Helm. Get the links will be in the recap. Find them all there. It's all good. I appreciate everybody for listening, watching, doing whatever you do. We like doing the DIY shows. Want to save you money. That's the bottom line. Until next time, I'm Papa Tom from the Tom Matt Show. Peace out, everybody. Love y'all. Have a great day.